What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy... That's Monday. We're never happy on Mondays. What's up, Kron? How's it going, everybody? Yep, so we got DEFCON countdown. What are we, like, 20 days or something like that away, I guess? No, hold on. 1 second. I'll count it. 7... Yeah. We are 20 days away. So, I was just guessing that. But yeah, we're getting close to the wire. We got to do the last bits of DEFCON prep. So, the main things we really have left is we're going to have to reformat the Cube's laptop. And we have this little guy over here, which I need to get around to 3D printing a case for. I've done it before. I lost my last one. So if you're not familiar with what this is, hold on, let me cover the QR code because TikTok gets dirty me. This is a GGTag. So it's a reprogrammable badge that we can put on ourselves. And what I'm going to do is turn that into just kind of a little badge for myself at DEFCON, and then I'm gonna hang it from my bag with these little lanyard pieces over here. So, but who else out there is going to DEFCON? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I pre-ordered the Free Willy 2 that got released today, which is basically a more open source competitor to the Flipper 1. So I'm going to be picking that up at DEFCON. What's your thoughts on Hunix? I like Hunix. I've talked a lot about it in the past. Okay, where the hell is my USB-C cable? I just need a C to C. With data. That should work. Oh, and then I got a new little piece of hardware I put on the Linux editing workstation. It's this little media tool here. So I got it programmed to do 5 different things here. And I can scroll frame by frame, which made editing my video today super nice. So, we have a bit of a longer video coming out that should be out tomorrow evening, which is going to be talking about Hacker Summer Camp, which you need to get ready and all that stuff. I had to trim quite a bit out, like I was going to get in depth about Meshtastic and other stuff like that, that they have there, but the problem is, well, okay, we got data, or at least power. The problem is, well, when I was practicing, when I was going through the script, it ended up being close to an hour long. Actually more than an hour, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. So there might be a separate follow-up video. I don't know if I'll get it before DEFCON, but at least after DEFCON, talking about the alternative communications, Meshtastic. I may try to get my Mesh Core up before I go out there. I got to learn more about Mesh Core, and I do need to get Reticulum up. So I'm going to play with that probably sometime in the week while I'm at work during some downtime. Plausible to run Kali and Hunix both on a VM? Yeah. You can run both of those easily on a VM. In fact, that would probably be the preferred way, because Hunix is only meant to be run in a VM. Kali is preferred to be in a VM. What to do when you lock yourself out of BIOS? Well, modern BIOS, it's really, the password is, like, really baked in there. It's not that easy to just wipe it out. But back in the day, you used to be able to rapid tap insert on BIOS, and it would just unlock it. There's also popping out the coin cell battery, but nowadays, those don't work really anymore. Alright, let's see. I want to... Alright, we need to get a browser up with web serials, so I'm gonna open up Chromium over here. And... GGTag.io. Okay, so here's what we're gonna try doing. Alright, so this should be able to be reprogrammed. The cool thing about this GGTag is... Oh, that's the sound program. Why are you... Oh, serial. Okay, does that not have data? Yeah, I don't think that cable has data. I gotta go through all of my USB cables and figure out which ones are which and which have what spec. I'll take the... Nope, that's an HDMI cable. That's a micro USB. That one should be good because I think that's one of the ones from my SSD. Thoughts on using Rust? What do you want to know about using it? There we go. Yeah, so the cable needed data. Alright. And as you can see, we flashed it, and it says hello world. So, now we gotta program this. And I want to... Oh, you can do RFID in there, I forgot. Yeah, so we can do a QR code. I need to play with this. I may have to get, like, ChatGPT or at least Claude to help me with this. So, hold on. Let me see if I can at least get an image on here. So, oh, they got a pre-baked Mario image on here. And then you got Mario on there. Yeah. Is Molvet a good VPN to use? I mean, it's alright. I mean, the question is, what are you using a VPN for? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to program my badge here for DEFCON. Not the badge for DEFCON, this is a badge I'm bringing to DEFCON, which is going to have my stuff on there. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to need... Hold on, new window. I'm thinking if we get Claude pointed at it through Copilot, that might just save me a lot of effort, because I remember when I did this the first time, this ended up taking like... I think it took me like 3 or 4 hours to figure out what I did, and I didn't write my notes down. You like my bald head? I don't know. I feel like if I stick my head in a bowling ball cleaner, it could be shiny enough that you could use my head to see your future. Alright, let's see. So, I'm gonna point... What the hell? We have Claude Sonnet 5? Okay, that's a new one. I'm debating on if I should get a mini PC or buy parts to make it like a data server type. Well, the advantage with mini PCs is they are very cost effective. But right now, the issue is, like, okay, if you're gonna go buy parts, Have you looked at the price of RAM lately? Do that, and then take a picture of your face when you see, the price, so we can all see how shocked you are, if you weren't aware of the price. Now's not the best time I really recommend to build computers, and it's one of the few times I've ever actually said that. Before it used to be, oh, you know, the GPU shortage, just get a GPU to hold you over. But with RAM, it's not the same. Because that affects everything now. We wanna... Okay, so Claude is asking me what we want. Do you already own a physical device? I already own it. So Claude Sonnet 5 seems to be pretty good. Is it worth to update RAM in a laptop? You only got 16. Is it worth it? Yes. Is it worth it right now? Probably not. Memory for laptops is incredibly expensive right now. Alright, let's try and get... You prefer 5-hour sessions or a whole week of usage? For what? What are you talking about? Definitely talking about gym, because I can't do 5 hours. Most people shouldn't do more than, what is it? 2, 3 tops? What was I looking for? Oh yeah, GitHub. I need to pull my signature. What cert should I go after my AB? My advice? Why are you... Well, the first question you have to ask yourself is, why are you going to get another cert? Are you going to get certs just to get certs? Are you going to get a cert because there's some requirement for a job or position that you're looking at? If the answer is none of those, then you need to ask yourself, is that really a good investment of time? The problem is that we have, and I've talked about this, if it's a requirement, then, I mean, I don't really have either one of those, so I can't really tell you which one is better. It's always about going towards the one that'll actually be more effective for your career. Like, for me, there's a reason why I got the CISSP certification as my first cert was, well, it felt like the first time I actually had a cert that actually could open some more doors for me. How can you DDoS the stream? Very simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to point it, and my IP address is this, so I normally don't give this out. Just, you know, send all your junk traffic to 127.0.0.1. Is Bisq safe to buy? Which one's Bisq? Why does Bisq sound familiar? Was that like the darknet mark? Oh, it's the decentralized Bitcoin network. Yeah, I used that a while ago. It's alright. It's just not the easiest thing for people to use. How many people have you seen trying to get in cybersecurity but don't have the discipline? Quite a few. The problem is you have a lot of people that are trying to get into the field because they're like falling under the myth that like you can make 90K in 90 days and they're going in the field purely just for, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money, but have zero understanding of what the job entails. And what you have to keep doing to keep making money in this field. They made Doom on Neo Geo. How many men you seen trying to backdoor you but lack discipline? Well, I'm a top, so I don't really get backdoored. Kind of set me up for that joke. Greetings from Finland. I'm a 22-year-old IT student specializing in hopefully becoming a sysadmin. Welcome to the stream. Good luck on your journey with your career, and I wish you luck on keeping all of your hair as you progress through this career. The reason why most of the people that you see in this field have lost their hair is because of end users stressing us the hell out. Do you think AI will take humans' jobs in cybersecurity? Not really to the extent people think. I think it's going to modify and alter and augment things. Like, you're not going to have tier 1 SOC analysts doing basic queries and all that. It's going to do a lot of the rudimentary work, but you're still going to need humans to check the work. How can you pay your rent in Monero? Find a landlord that'll let you pay in Monero, or find some ATMs that'll let you cash out and cash for that. 100% agree on the hairless to user stupidity ratio. Yeah, show me an IT guy that still has their hair in IT, and I will show you someone who hasn't dealt with end users enough. What's my biggest achievement in this field? I think right now, getting to senior cybersecurity engineer and doing my first talk a couple of weeks ago in person, which I will be recording for YouTube. I just have a backlog of content I'm trying to get through. The first YouTube video in weeks is actually going out tomorrow evening. It's already scheduled. It's uploaded. The thumbnail's done. Everything's there. It's good to go. It's the guide for Hacker Summer Camp, B-Sides, Black Hat, DEFCON. Like I was saying earlier, didn't get as in-depth as I would have liked to, because it already ended up being about 37 minutes, give or take, or so. 35 minutes or so. I think it was 34 minutes once I cut down some of the fluff. Because I didn't get into, like, oh, go to do this with Meshtastic, here's the things with radio, all that. I think a lot of that stuff I'm going to cover in videos while either at DEFCON or after DEFCON. Do you think your field of work is fun to you? My sister said find a job you enjoy. Oh, I find it definitely is enjoyable. You'll see that all, especially once I'm at DEFCON and everything. Everyone that meets me at DEFCON and cybersecurity conventions know I'm having a blast. I enjoy the job I do. I don't necessarily enjoy some of the companies I've worked for, or some of the individuals I've had to work under, but I like my job. But there's still a former VP at my last job that I normally am not the type to hold a grudge, but boy oh boy did they make the list. Thank God they're a former VP. Even the universe was like, man, you suck. Job searching in IT is kind of cooked right now. I hear that for the entry level. I really do, a lot. The problem is because I'm so far removed from what entry level now looks like, it's hard for me to really gauge how to best address that, other than, you know, you have to get through the application tracking systems and the buzzwords and the keywords and the checkboxes. Yeah. Oh, and then I am working on my WGU still. I think I finished one other class. Now I gotta start on the next one. I'd had to do a Python class, and the biggest issue with the Python class was because of the way that we do coding now for the past 3 years, I can't do, I think, what is it they call an objective assessment, which is basically it's the proctored test. Because the issue is, if I'm sitting down for Python, for years, even before AI, we were referencing material as we were working on projects. And then with AI, it makes it even worse because now I can't even open VS Code without autocomplete basically finishing the entire function for me 2 words in. So they did at least a couple weeks ago at WGU offer for the D522 Python class what's called a performance assessment. So instead of a proctored exam where you're basically answering multiple choice and then writing an entire formula for different issues without any reference material, they now have it that you can do 2 different assignments. And then you just have to, like, screenshot a bunch of your steps, push it into a GitLab repo and all this. So it's not necessarily easier because now you have additional barriers if you're new to coding and stuff. Whereas, oh, this is GitLab. Cool. Here's my SSH key. Paste that in. Cool. Let's grab the files. Then I started working from my regular laptop, pushing the code into the terminal, then pulling it from the virtual machine that I had to work out of for the project. That was a lot easier for me. But that would not be easier for a lot of other people. And I think that's why I also say that college is not really a good indicator of your knowledge. And I know a lot of people get irked when I say that because let me put it this way. I'm not knocking WGU. I do think they have a pretty decent curriculum if I didn't already know what I know. But with that being said, I still wouldn't consider anyone without prior IT experience and just a degree as anything more than junior or associate or help desk positions. That's kind of the honest truth about things. And it sucks. But I do think WGU is really great for the professionals like me that we're busy, we're working nonstop. We don't have the time to go and spend on classes. We're self-motivated. Because it really is just a checkbox at the end of the day. Hey Ben, what you talking about today? Just about a bunch of random stuff. We're trying to get my tag that I'm trying to program for DEFCON to have my name and stuff on it. Took your advice and deleted Windows and immersed myself into Linux. Nice. How's that going? How is the demand so high yet so little jobs posted? The problem is there's a mismatch between what executives want and what the field actually has. So there are a lot of professionals out there, but they're not in the right skills that executives want. But here's the other problem that the executives have. They're not freaking investing into the employees to get the skills they need. A lot of times, it's easier to get an employee that understands the base concepts, has a good head on their shoulders, and then get them trained on the products or specific, skills or whatever, variation, to get where the company needs. We have companies right now, the problem is they're all looking for senior talent, but they're not willing to train for senior talent. And that's why I keep telling people, you can't learn everything you want to know on the job necessarily. You learn most of it on the job, but there's a lot you have to do outside of work. And home lab and tinker and, you know, build and all of that. Am I playing Assassin's Creed? No. How to get into my field of work? I've always had an interest in tech. My dad was a geek that worked on the Hubble Space Telescope shutters and Fortran and stuff like that, so kind of just ended up happening. Alright, let's see. We have... trying to find where I put my damn data that I need to give Claude to figure out the format that I want. Oh, it's email signature. Whee! Okay, so present working directory. All right, let's see. How do you want to flash it? We'll do both. See about making it. Did your message even send? Despite the fact that I ran a custom PC shop since high school, once things eventually fizzled out, it's a bit of a crapshoot for entry level for me. Despite the fact that I'm a million times more qualified than some random person who speed ran a CompTIA A+ in 3 weeks. Well, Shiraz, here's the thing. I want you to think about this. You might be more qualified than the job that you're going for. What I'm saying is, go the next step up. You might literally, because of what you said, you're building custom computers, you had a shop and all this stuff, be getting overlooked because people see you as too experienced for help desk. I kind of ended up doing that myself. I went and skipped the traditional help desk route and did like retail IT slash MSP.
Malak says
what's your thoughts on Flipper Zero and when does it become illegal? A Flipper Zero is a fun toy, but that's basically all it is. It's nothing compared to the U console, which I do not have over here. It's upstairs in my room because I was tinkering with it in my room because it's the highest point in the house and I wanted to mess with radio. It's an interesting little device. It's fun. It's a nice toy, but there's nothing in here that like really would concern me per se, outside of some morons trying to do deauth attacks and things like that to mess with people. The problem with like trying to say that you're going to make this illegal is there's nothing in here that's unique to the Flipper Zero. Like the Wi-Fi deauth stuff, I can replicate all that stuff with a Wi-Fi card. The Bluetooth stuff, same thing, Wi-Fi with a Bluetooth card. The, what you call it? The NFC RFID. I got a Proxmark around here somewhere. That's probably upstairs. God damn it. I gotta find where I put that Proxmarker now. Hey, Pupper. There's nothing really unique in the Flipper Zero. That's what I'm trying to get at. The novelty in the Flipper Zero is in how compact and consolidated all the tooling is in here. That's the advantage of it. What do you think about the BLE Shark Nano? I'm not familiar with that one. There's so many different little hacker toys out there. Like, I just pre-ordered the Free Willy 2 that I'm going to be ordering, picking up at DEFCON. Like, here, I'll show you this. This is what I picked up. Well, not... Hold on, not that one. Free Willy 2 hacker. Where the hell? The problem is when you call something Free Willy, you get it trapped with the SEO of... Free Willy DEFCON. There we go. Alright, so this is what I pre-ordered that I'm picking up at DEFCON. This is the Free Willy 2. There's another one that's before it. It's a little bit more open sourced and can do a little bit more. So, it's got dual Raspberry Pi 2350s in there and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, it's got a lot of fun things in there. And I think it even supports CAN bus, was what they were saying. Yeah. So, we've got the ability to do industrial control systems over here. It's even got a little AI agent. There's a Python API in here to interface with it easily. So, this should be interesting to play with. I'm really going to be curious to see what I can make this do. And apparently it's got a bunch of software already out the box. So, that should be really cool, and I like the fact that there's already a Python pip package for Free Willy, so that'll be really easy to interface with it and make whatever scripts I need to do, compared to the Flipper. Yeah. I want a job in DevOps, but in Mexico there's no DevOps, lol. I don't know what the Mexican scene is like. I knew one person that was in Mexico, and she worked for IBM a while ago. Oh, somebody slipped in. Thank you for the follow. Malu Exe? Shay? Whatever. You have CCIE and CISSP and I can't land an interview. What should I do? And so many more certificates, more than 30 across vendors in Cloud GRC. How many more? And many more. Well, I think you kind of effed yourself right there. You kind of said the problem out loud. I've said before that too many certs in alphabet soup can actually work against you. And that actually might be happening. Because you're like, I have certs across 30 vendors and everything. The current job that I got for senior engineer, I got with only a CISSP and not even a bachelor's. I've gotten all the certs since then that, I've talked about from WGU. The other thing is, you're not probably tailoring your resume to the appropriate jobs. Like I talk about, you need several versions of your resume catered to different positions that you're looking at with different cover letters addressing different things. You also need to make sure it's ATS optimized, application tracking system optimized. There's professional resume writers out there. I don't know anyone's off the top of my head, because the one I knew in person from a friend that helped me rewrite my document, but they on average go anywhere from $100 to $300 depending on the package that you're looking at, and that can range anywhere from just redoing my resume to resume and cover letter to redo the whole LinkedIn. They are worth it. I've used them twice, and both times it netted me interviews, whereas my original versions of my resumes won't. And don't think that, I'll just feed it into AI and that'll improve it. It might give you some improvements, but you still need a human to look at the thing. Because, as we know, AI can be wrong very, very often. So, Yeah, I wouldn't focus on certs. I'd focus on your resume, and then what I would also do, if you have any colleagues, have them look at your resume. Have them do honest critiques on it. You'd be surprised. Sometimes what happens is we get so far up our own fucking ass that we work against us, and we are our own worst enemy. What is the tool? Oh, we were talking about the, Free Willy 2. So I'll be picking this up at DEFCON, which is when they, originally launch. I mean, when they're planning to launch the, Founders Edition. But this bad boy's got so much crap in here. It's got, Raspberry Pi 2350 dual core, 2 of them, for the main compute. And apparently a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 0 is the main brain around it. And we've got an ESP32C5 2.4 plus 5 gigahertz, a C1101 and a LoRa. So we got Mesh-tastic capabilities, RFID and NFC, CAN bus. We got DVI, and there's GPS via the USB host. So this is pretty jam-packed with a bunch of goodies in there, and you can basically use it as a portable hardware lab too, because one of my friends has the Free Willy 1, and they enjoyed it quite a bit. Let me see if they have, and they should. You can actually test it out right now. So they have, like, kind of like you can see what it'll look like over here. Although they haven't really populated this. My guess is because it's, like, the people that are buying this are the people that know what they're going to get at DEF CON. So it's like, we kind of don't need to know. We just kind of look at it and we're like, gimme! What do I do if someone is doxing me in there and... I don't know what in com means. I mean, unfortunately, not much you can really do. Because everything that normally should be done should have been done beforehand. Sorry you're going through this. It sucks, but unless they're actually, but even like if they're threatening you and stuff like that, a lot of times people are overseas and it's hard to prove these things, and you're generally getting into the area of law enforcement. There's not much ethical hackers can do. There's nothing I can do. Like I said, everything that you could have done is preventative. The problem is people are too willing to just put their data and be too laissez-faire with it, and they don't think about it until things like this happen, and it sucks because you shouldn't have to go through some traumatic event that makes you wake up. But the reality is that's generally what happens. Yeah, OSINT can be a son of a bitch. Yeah. That's why I tell people, when you're learning OSINT yourself. And then start thinking about all the different ways you would look for information on another person and then apply it to yourself. The downside of this is that I don't do deep OSINTing when I go to date. I do at least a preliminary Google search, and apparently checking and making sure the person you're dating isn't an axe murderer or some kind of criminal before you go to date makes it creepy. It's not even like I'm saying like, oh yeah, how's your dog, Bucky? And I see you got those new curtains at this place. It was not like I was doing that. It was like, Jane Doe. Any record? No. Okay. Most I see is like a parking ticket. Okay. We're good. You know, like that kind of thing. What cybersecurity principles do you carry into your personal life? A lot of them. I always think about redundancies, and I always think about when I'm putting something together, I have to put in my mind what happens when we go to remove it eventually, if ever. There's... You know, you get thinking about, like, continuity, fail-safes, things like that. Good God, TikTok, you restricted my live for 10 minutes. Reason? Harassment and bullying. TikTok! You don't do shit about the harassment I get and all the anti-Semitism I get, but you badger me for nothing. Like, seriously, y'all know the BS that I deal with? I got people sending me anti-Semitic comments or commenting unrelated bullshit about Israel or whatnot on posts about phones. That's been my life, basically, for the past few years since this whole conflict has kicked off this time. But it is what it is. Alright, so we're gonna let that run in the side over here while we look up some content. Oh yeah, and, yeah. I feel like everyone is more racist than usual. You know what? I agree with that. And here's the thing. It's not on one specific side. It's from everywhere. Like, people have gotten their heads so far up their ass that I think they've been behind the computer screen so long to forget the human behind the comments that they're directing things at. Because here's the thing. I guarantee you, at least half of these, I'd say like 80% of these frickers are cowards in real life that would snivel and curl up in the fetal position if you ever were to actually confront them IRL. Because usually, it's those with the largest insecurities that have to go around hating on other people. I just think people need to recognize the human behind the other side of things. And the other thing is that I hate with the internet is you have all these performative activists on all these different things. Like, you have to hop on the most trendy social issue for points on the internet and clout, and, you know, happen to be the most vocal one without actually doing any frickin' thing to help the problem. I don't know if I have to break this to people, but going around on the internet typing things on your keyboard to random people is not activism. It's performative at best. Because the people most of you are going and directing your energy towards have zero power whatsoever to fix the problems you're discussing. And it's not on any specific issue. You could apply that in the generality sense, in the general sense. Definitely get you pissed off. Yeah, I just have to remind myself that most of these people are still living in their mom's basement. And you know how I know that? Because most of the time when I say that, they never deny it. They just come at me with another answer. Like, well, you're bald, and I'm like, yeah, and you still live in your mom's basement. It's either racism or fake caring or no in between. Yeah, that's really the unfortunate reality of it. And then you have people, like, I hate to go on this tangent, and then we're gonna go right into, you know, reviewing some content after this final thought here, all right? You have people that don't even listen to the people they're going after, to the point, like, I've been open and said, I'm a first-generation American who is Moroccan and Jewish, has Muslim and Jewish family, as well as Israeli and Palestinian family. Okay? You don't get to pick your relatives. You don't get to pick, you know, the nation you're born in or any of these things. It's just the nature of how things happen. And then I have people harassing me about Israel merely because of my tattoo. Even though I'm the one that actually has been in Gaza. Most of them couldn't even point it out on a map. Like, I'm trying to find the video that we need to pull up right now, but, like, what was it, the most recent outrage? Oh, a bunch of people are getting pissed off, after finding out that Waze is owned by Israelis. And I'm sitting here like, that was never a secret. Google bought them in, like, what, 2013 or something like that? You've been? I used to live in Israel, specifically in Jerusalem, but Israel's small enough where I've gotten to be all over. I got to camp out with Bedouins in the Negev desert, ride camels, that whole thing, go four-wheeling. I used to hang out at the Dead Sea with my Palestinian friends and family all the time. Bunch of us, Israeli and Palestinian and American dudes, just hang out. We go get some girls, take them to the Dead Sea, smoke some hookah at the beach, and have a bonfire, get some meat, have a good old time. And most of the time it'd be fine, except sometimes we come back in, and then you have Magav, which is Border Patrol, harass the Palestinian friends, and that start a whole thing, because then everyone's going and defending them, and it's the whole thing. Would you be concerned using an Israeli app? No, because I know the reality of the world is that you're gonna be using technology from various different countries. And if you're really that concerned about... Here's how I would ask the question. Why should you be concerned about Israel more than China, more than Russia, more than any of these other countries? More than the USA, where your own data is being stolen and used for identity theft. The signal safe from EU chat surveillance law. My understanding is right now it is an optional thing for the scanning. There's a framework in there on 1.0. The reason why I looked into this is because my Matrix server is hosted in Sweden, and we have encrypted chats in that server. So that was a question I had, was do I have to actually look at migrating my entire Matrix infrastructure? Not every company is NSO Group, and not every Israeli app is NSO Group. Do you realize, like, in the entire ecosystem of technology, okay? Like, NSO is, like, not even that. Out of this entire thing! And if you're really that worried about Israeli technology, I'm not talking about, you know, being, you know, look, I'm totally critical of the Israeli government. I've been on record about that. I've been against Netanyahu since before I was even making content, okay? I even called out Ehud Olmert, and I remember Ariel Sharon evacuating or removing the troops from Gaza to try to get that whole thing for peace. But the point that I'm trying to make is, you're going to be shocked when you realize just how much tech you actually rely on every day is on countries that you may not necessarily, you know, agree with. But the thing we have to understand is, let me flip the argument on its head for a second, okay? Let's remove Israel for a second. The Iraq War, the Iranian War, what's going on right now, the prior Iraq War, I don't agree with it. Many of you don't agree with it. But are we as Americans guilty merely because of what some elites in the government choose to do, whether we like it or not? And you have to apply that logic blanketly across the entire discussion. All right, let's see. We got open source projects. Apple Silicon exec explains Mac Mini AI demand on device future. Yeah, Signal Safe. It's pretty much the main app that most of my cybersecurity friends and I use. Signal and Matrix. Okay, so, Brooks made the claim while discussing. Okay, so what's this about? Been the machines for running AI agents. So they're probably talking about how the Mac Mini has been used a lot. So Mac Mini is an amazing system for that. Many tools are AI for Mac first or Mac only. Okay, so let's see what the full interview says. This is a pretty long interview. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing. Okay, so they're basically just talking about how Apple, became the current go-to for a lot of the different AI projects that people are doing. Okay. We don't like the regimes, not the people. Exactly. And that's my exact point. You can hate a government, but people are innocent in most of what the government does, because the reality is, and I've said this many times, most of politics is a dick measuring contest between insecure people that need to make it known that they have a bigger one.
Open source projects you should know. This repo is called ListMonk, and it's a high-performance, self-hosted newsletter and mailing list manager that runs as a single binary with PostgreSQL. You manage millions of subscribers with SQL-based segmentation, build beautiful emails with visual drag-and-drop editor, and track analytics natively. It's perfect for newsletters when you want open source email management without licensing fees.
Now, the question I have about ListMonk is, because you're talking about newsletters, wouldn't you need... Hold on. All right. All right, let's see. ListMonk. Wouldn't you need an email server? Okay, let's see the docs. Oh, you got OIDC in there? Bounce processing, configuration. Okay, you got your database ports, HTML, media uploads, logs, time zone. Yep, SMTP. So you still have to have an SMTP server. But yeah, it's good that they actually noted typically ports 25 and 465 are blocked by ISPs. That's why, everyone's like, why don't you host an email server from your home? And I'm like, you need to get a business IP address, then you need to get permission to allow running an email server on that IP. Signal safe with the EU with the surveillance law. Yeah, for now, it looks like it's okay, because it merely gave a legal mechanism for the processing, but there's no mandatory requirement, as far as I understand, for analyzing encrypted messages. My understanding is they have to go with another vote before they can, do anything. All right, so let's see. I'm curious if... Almost. So Claude almost got it. So we need DEFCON 34. Okay, that QR code goes to that. Hold on. Let me see. I want to tweak it just a little bit, but I want to see also how this is going to look. So let's program this. Okay, so the QR code is just a little bit out of frame, but that's the DEFCON badge, so I gotta tweak this a little bit. This is the pain in the ass that I was like, this took me 3 hours to do this, like, last DEFCON. Now you're seeing why. That's why I was like, you know what? I have Claude now. Just screenshotted your QR code. Oh, I'm not blocking it because it's anything sensitive. I'm blocking it because TikTok throws fits anytime it sees QR codes. Alright, let's see. Next video.
Powerful websites you should know. This website is called WebCheck, and it's an all-in-one open-source intelligence platform engineered to analyze any public website's technical posture instantly. You audit DNS configurations, trace hidden redirects, and check active block lists from a single web interface and identify potential web infrastructure vulnerabilities. It's perfect for quickly checking your website for security.
I mean, that seems alright, but I use Project Discovery already for that. Setting a whole ass MX is a massive technical and regulatory pain in the ass for big companies already. Yeah. So WhatsApp should be okay too. I mean, yeah, but WhatsApp sucks.
Man, Apple really turned those old Scooby-Doo reveals into real life. Even though they tout themselves as the privacy-focused phone provider, they've just been caught out for allowing their email masking service to not do that. And
oh yeah, I saw this. It's a good thing I've been more of an advocate of Proton's aliasing service with simple login. Because the Apple way, unfortunately, is only Apple specific, but apparently there are flaws there that you can de-anonymize people.
Investigation found that there's a key vulnerability in their program that allows ruffians to uncover your real email handle. An exploit in a piece of software isn't a real big problem. It happens all the time. It's rather that Apple's...
Do you really need a master do you really need a master networking to get into cybersecurity hacking? Pretty much. I don't think you need to be like a master in terms of like BGP and doing like OSPF and things like that. But you need to understand networking fairly well conceptually in order to be successful, because the network is the core backbone of the entire world.
Publicly announced and have chosen so far to do nothing about it. And it's not a small issue either. In 100% of the emails that the researchers tested, they were able to actually reveal the true identity behind Apple's mask. So until they actually publicly announce that this is fixed, don't necessarily believe their whole privacy spiel.
Yeah, I see the sticker. Okay, so I eat it. Extra fiber.
Open source projects you should know. This project is called Ponytail, and it's an open source AI agent optimization skill built to eliminate code-based over-engineering. You force your AI coding assistants to leverage native standard libraries, drastically slash API token usage, and audit entire repositories for accidental structural complexity. It's perfect for developers and AI power users who want leaner, highly efficient code-based edits with zero unnecessary scaffolding.
That actually might be interesting. This is called Ponytail? Where do people come up with these names? Okay. I've had people like ask me like, you know, of any interesting projects, and I just tell them like, go through my GitHub stars. You'll find interesting shit.
Open source projects you should know. This project is called TraceCat, and it's an open source security automation platform designed for modern incident response. You build security
Is it worth it? Maybe finish like a free CCNA course, or is it too much? Maybe if it's free, can't hurt.
The workflows visually integrate real-time alerts from various tools and execute automated response actions instantly and streamline incident management. It's perfect for easily automating.
Yeah, we talked about the updated Hannah Montana Linux the other day.
Infrastructure.
Huh. Wait, there's a TikTok Lite? What's TikTok Lite?
Well, I was wrong. It's not 2,500 people being laid off at Xbox. It is 1,600, and over the next year, it will rise to 3,700, which is 20% of the entirety of Xbox, sliced and diced. Oh.
How many of those are managers, though? The question I ask anytime, somebody gives, like, these mass layoffs, I always ask how many of them are management. Because often what happens is when they're laying off, they're removing layers of management that have built up over the years. When you look into like Amazon's layoffs, Microsoft's layoffs, a lot of these big companies, those are generally a big chunk of it.
Was only off by 1,200, guys. What the fuck? Because, as we all expected, D-Day has arrived, and Asha Sharma published a letter directed at Xbox, where she talks about those layoffs and why they are happening. Basically saying that since 2018, Xbox has expanded as a brand so much, bought so many studios, and became so big that it became an unsustainable state, actively losing 64 cents on every dollar invested. If you couldn't tell, that's a bad margin, because you're losing money. So they have to downsize and reorganize. Their first thing, the reset of their content portfolio. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. Somehow, Asha managed to not close a single studio. Double Fine, the creators of Psychonauts, and Compulsion will split away from Xbox. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, the studios behind Senua and State of Decay 3, will get new owners. And Arcane, the studio Blade, is getting some... I don't really understand that part. Unfortunately, there will also be cuts across every studio. Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox. But somehow, no games have been cancelled due to these layoffs. Second, they will reset...
That's a good thing.
The new strategy of Xbox is actually pretty promising. She says that before, the company had 14 layers of management in some cases.
There it is! I called it! 14 layers of management. Think about that. That means when you at the bottom of the totem pole need to get something up to the top, you go to your manager, they go to their manager, that person goes to their manager, then that person finds their manager, then we got to go find that person's manager. But wait, now they got to go get their manager. Then we have to go find another manager. But wait, now we gotta find their manager. And we're not even done yet. Do you understand? This is why I keep saying, like, everybody's like, oh, AI is causing all these mass layoffs. And I'm like, what's the management that's getting fired? What's the percentage that's managers? I know there's probably going to be some developers in there because there's going to be some bloat no matter what when you're talking about enterprise. But if the majority of it is managers, they're just trying to get rid of bloat that grew up over the years. Yes, I do deal with 8 managers all day, every day. Yep, your TPS reports.
Which is fucking ridiculous, by the way.
Sometimes I just do enough to make sure that I don't get hassled by my 3 bosses. My God! 3 bosses seems like a dream when you're talking about office space to like that. Damn.
Imagine you're trying to get anything done as a developer, and the person in charge of you says, yeah, I have to talk to that guy, then he talks to that guy, then he talks to that guy.
I literally pulled this example.
Then he talks to that guy, then he talks to that guy, and maybe we get a response in like 6 months. And the blurry management of 14 layers leads to less games being made, less accountability, and managing these studios became impossible. So they are changing that and limiting the amount of management layers to 5, making it easier to pick.
5 is a reasonable number. Because when I was at my last job, they had a bit too much, but it was like had my manager, they had their manager, then it was the C-suite. And that's how many steps we had until we hit a C-suite member. 3 hops.
Pinpoint issues and say who has to be held accountable for that mistake. Yes, that is amazing. That is legitimately amazing. Nothing else to say here. And the third point is resetting their operations. Asha says that everyone and every studio is just doing their own thing while being funded by Xbox, but they aren't actually Xbox. So she is creating a new role, which we already know will be Xbox veteran Helen Cheng. Her job is to force all these separate pieces, all these different studios, hardware, software, and whatsoever towards the same goal, instead of everyone just running in their own lane and doing whatever the And I'll be honest, I was fearing this day, and I think we got the best possible outcome here. This was an inevitable thing for Xbox.
Yep.
But Xbox is actually doing a reset with a clear goal in mind, building out the Xbox platform and making some fucking games. And I don't want to undersell that nearly 4,000 people are going to lose their job. That fucking sucks. But I think somehow Asha managed to make the best out of the worst possible situation you can be in.
Yeah, fair enough. Would you consider the CISO a C-suite member? Well, I don't know. If the C-suite and the C stands for chief, does the chief information security officer count as C-suite? Chief? Alright, let's see. The next video. What is this? ESP32.
When I got my first computer, all I needed was 2 outlets. One for the monitor, one for the mainframe. Over time, I extended my laboratory, my computer, by including a printer, a label printer, a scanner. And by now, I have an office with a whole load of outlet sockets, I think more than 12. And each socket is occupied with one of these annoying power adapters.
Okay.
There must be a better way. So I decided to design a power distribution block. It also includes an energy monitor. So I can monitor exactly how much energy each device is using. Okay, so this is the power board, and as you can see, most surface mounted devices. We will install the microcontroller here. We have a display, and then of course we have output connectors. I need to install the LEDs. Okay, so let's start assembling everything to one nice device. It's almost finished. In the display we see the current right now,
Nice.
including 0.15 amps. We can also see the voltage, channel 4.
Oh, that's nice.
9.05 volts and 0.13 amps. We can also monitor energy that's been used. When I got my first
That'd be interesting. I'd be curious in making something like that. If I had the time. Damn it, I lost my place. I hit the button on the keyboard and it like rapid fired me ahead. Okay, there we go. We have a TikTok. Hold on. Copy text. TikTok goes derpy on Florp for some reason, so we gotta use Firefox for that. I saw my last post and it made me open my eyes. What was my last post? Sorry, I have a lot of my posts now, like on a schedule. I tend to queue them out for like a week out 3 times a day. Why do you like Pop OS? Just wondering. I've been using it for years, and I used to use Ubuntu, and then, you know, Ubuntu kind of went with the Unity interface a while ago, but yeah. I'm waiting for Pop OS 2604 to upgrade from 2204.
See this in action. On the left, we have Unreal Engine. On the right is a terminal running Cloud Code. The message going back and forth. Cloud Code is talking to Unreal through the MCP server, reading the scene, and taking actions directly inside the engine. So let's start with something small, a modern living room. We start by giving the model some context, what we want to build, and whereabouts in the level. And to make sure everyone can follow along, we're showing a summarized version of each prompt as we go. But if you want the full details, you can still see that in the terminal window.
You know what the problem with this is? Is that we're no longer going to be able to like have any indie game even with Unreal Engine say they were not made with AI. Because they have that tag about AI. Yeah.
We're going to speed things up from here for presentation purposes. But everything you're seeing is real work happening inside the engine. So we can ask for the basics: a sofa, a rug, and a coffee table. Then fill it in with chairs, a lamp, and a side table. Semantic search, which is part of the 5.8 release, pulls assets from your library that fit that description. And because this is Unreal, we can also manually add a chair, describe it as a reading nook, and the model will furnish the room accordingly. Every step here is a creative decision that you're making. Models are good at broad iterations. You're good at knowing exactly what you want. Those same principles work whether you're furnishing a room or whether you want to scale up and build an entire city. So let's take that same approach and build a city. You start by drawing the boundary. From there, you can decide where the districts go and what characteristics each one has. Highways cut through.
Damn.
And from those, the road network starts to fill in.
Farming is going to be using AI. They're using AI for a lot of stuff in farming now.
Buildings come up. The model here is using semantic search to find the right assets from your library and place them in the level. Ask for a forest around the edge, and it can fill that in. Now that the city is built, we want to light it. Getting lighting right
Holy shit.
is a skill that means touching dozens of parameters that all need to work together. Light balance, cloud materials, sky atmosphere.
We got people able to remake Grand Theft Auto 6 with Claude before we got Grand Theft Auto 6.
Post-process. That's a lot to know. But by creating a dedicated lighting skill, you just describe what you want, and the model orchestrates that all for you. Ask for a purple dusk. And there it is. Under the hood, it's adjusting all those settings in concert. Then we can ask for overcast skies. And this is an example of where the model gets things wrong. It misread the sky and tweaked the cloud material the wrong way. But you can see exactly what happened, correct it in the next prompt, and you're right back to where you want to be. Because models also have real-world knowledge, you can just say, Bogota at 9:30 in the morning. And it will go and figure out the sun position, direction, temperature, and atmosphere.
Good God!
Matches that. What we've shown here today would take months to build by hand. But with the MCP server and Unreal, our artists were able to make all of this in days. When you lower the technical friction, you can iterate more and make better games. That's what we've built. This is really just a starting point.
Imagine trying to explain this 10 years ago. You mean when they started making Grand Theft Auto 6?
Your own primitives, your own examples, your own skills built around your pipelines. The more your team puts in over time, the more useful it gets for everyone on the project. We're shipping the MCP server, the PCG primitive plugin, and the skills we've developed as part of 5.8 today. It's open, and it's yours to extend. Go download it, point your model at it, and see what you can do.
Good God. That's interesting. But it also makes me worry about, like, the authenticity of people moving forward in art. Like, are we gonna have to spot the artifact in different art all the time? GTA 6 will look old compared to Claude code running Unreal Engine. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Oh, Vibe OS. Yeah, we talked about this a while ago. Yeah, somebody put a link in from an Instagram video. Oh, wait. No, hold on. This might be something a little bit different.
The thing that's unique here, the thing that you will never have seen before, is that in these applications, there is no code at all. Everything in all these applications is being hallucinated in real time by the AI. So there's
Wait,
no
what?
buttons, there's no event handlers, there's no logic to say what to do, but the application works. It's just producing UI exclusively with nothing behind it. Unlike
What the shit?
boring operating systems that you use today, this solves one of the big problems that people have, right? There's no question to be answered because the answer is always yes. Everything is AI. So anything that I search for, I'm going to find. And it will just be created for me on the fly. And so we can get a fully customized version of Encarta 98 on whatever subject we're interested in. And other applications that you would want, but normally it's too difficult to make, so like Commander XE, but it's always rude to you. This is a pretty revolutionary way to do computing because we don't need to write any code for any of our applications anymore.
There's a little bit of inside baseball obviously happening, but this is fascinating because if what you want is the subjective experience of anything you want, like you can see the beginnings of a version of simulation theory happening where there is no underneath this surface. It's like if it looks and feels like you're in an OS searching the web and everything lines up, then I guess what does it matter? Believe they.
Interesting. Alright, what's the next video we've got? What power station do you actually need? Anker's Solix edition. These Anker Solixes keep coming up quite a bit.
They've done a much better job than most other companies when it comes to actually naming their power stations.
Their cables and power stuff are pretty good. I wouldn't buy any fucking thing else from Anker, because they owned, what was the camera company that they bought that they found out was phoning home or some shit? There was some, like, security or privacy issue with it. I can't remember the specifics.
In the past, we've released buyer's guides.
What hardware you need to run this? Oh, that's Frontier, so in the cloud. Over the wire is a rabbit hole for me. Silent Linux.
Other brands, literally just to help you understand their product lineup. Some companies have power station names that are just all over the place. However, even with Anker, there still could be some confusion when it comes to the different series that they have and what power station is actually best for you. Some are designed for portability, some are designed for whole home backup, and then there's some other ones that are just kind of floating in the middle. So who are these different series for, and which one is actually worth your money? So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. We have tested and reviewed almost all of Anker's power stations here at the lab, and for the majority of them, they have all been positive reviews. We have always said that Anker has been known for actually putting R&D into their products. They always feel good, they work as advertised, and you can just tell that someone actually put time into making them. However, looking at the whole lineup, there are some power stations in that mix that we definitely think you guys could do without. There's also a lot of power stations that Anker no longer sells, and some new ones that recently hit the market. So their current lineup right now, they have the C series, which we kind of understand here at the lab it being more geared towards like camping. They have the C300 DC, they have the C300X, they have the C800X, they have the C1000, they have the C1000 Gen 2, and they have the C2000 Gen 2. They also have the F series. These ones are geared towards a little bit more backup system. They have the F2000, F2600, F3000, and then the F3800, as well as the F3800 Plus, which basically just fixed a couple of issues with the first generation F3800. And they have two specialty units that are completely different. They have the S2000, which is basically built for UPS. That's all it does. And they have the E10, which is like a whole home backup, kind of competes with like the E.
I wonder how that S series would work as a UPS instead. Because I keep having to replace these APCs over here. I just warrantied one of these because it shot an error the other day. And I had to replace it like right before stream, like hours before. But yeah.
Flow Delta Pro Ultra. With all the knowledge we have and all the testing we put these units through, we're going to recommend our favorite one in each of these series to make sure that you guys spend your money as wisely as possible. As always, we will leave links to the units we recommend down below, any discount codes we can get from Anker to save you guys some money where possible, as well as our power station quiz. If you're not sold even on the units we recommend today in this video, it takes 30 seconds. It gives you an instant recommendation based on a power station that we would actually recommend to you guys. We have full-length review videos on all of these these products on the channel as well if you want to go check them out. We'll leave links down below so you guys can kind of learn a little bit more about each one if you're actually interested in it. But with all that being said, let's jump into Anker's smallest and most portable lineup. So here at the lab, out of all the C-Series power stations, we found the C2000 Gen 2 to be the best bang for your buck.
How many battery units does this dude have?
Now, if you guys have watched any videos on the channel, you know that this actually isn't my favorite C-Series, but it is the one I would recommend to a friend if they were trying to spend their money the wisest. So this power station right here is the biggest C-Series.
It's got a 220 hookup.
Series they have, double the battery capacity of the C1000. This has a 2000 watt-hour battery. It's double the inverter of the 1000. This has a 2400.
Just downloaded Parrot OS. It's a good place to start learning on it. Hack the Box, I think it is. Was it Hack the Box that didn't have the controversy? Give me 1 second here. One of the two had a controversy, and I don't recommend them because of that. Hold on. We have... Yeah, Hack the Box is the one that's okay. Yeah, so Hack the Box is alright for that stuff. I've never personally used them. I have friends that like it and use it and recommend it. That's where they tinker with things like that. You can look at, like, OWASP Juice Shop. There's another, thing. Here, I'll, pull that up. OWASP Juice Shop. So, it's a insecure application. Intentionally. So, hold on, where is this? Oh, this is it. That's really confusing the way they have it loaded. For latest information, there we go. So yeah, OWASP Juice Shop, they have like CTF, stuff like that. That can give you some ideas of what you can do here. So, hope that helps.
100-watt inverter, and this is the only one in the entire C-Series lineup that has this 30-amp plug, which is crazy useful for like a small camping trailer or even a little bit of a larger scale backup system in your home. Larger scale for a small power station, that is. It is also expandable, which we love to see. So if you buy this right now and then your needs change in the future, you can just get an expansion battery. You don't have to buy an entire new power station.
My pleasure, Smokey.
It performed well in all of our testing. It's relatively new, so it's kind of a little more future-proof. Works with Anker's app, and honestly, it's a good-looking unit. Like, overall, it's just a great power station. And right now, this thing is $749, which is honestly a pretty good buy for what you're getting. We always say that even companies like Blue Eddy are the more like budget but still name brand units. If you compare this to a comparable Blue Eddy, you'd be looking at the Elite 200 V2. It has a 200 watt bigger inverter. It's not expandable, has no 30 amp plug, and even that unit costs $799. So this is kind of a sleeper unit from Anker when it comes to bang for buck. But if that's above your budget, remember when I said this one isn't my favorite, it's just the one that I would recommend to a friend. Honestly, my favorite Anker C-Series is gotta be the C800X.
A little bit smaller of a guy.
Now this unit is being weird. Don't know what Anker's doing with it. We can no longer find it on their website. You might be able to get it at Costco. I'm not sure what's going on. It might just be out of stock and they're hiding it from us. But if you can find this, this is my personal favorite C-Series because it has 520 volt house plugs on the front.
All right.
Little camping lights. So if you're actually using this for camping, you get these little lights. They have different modes, right? They could be a flashlight. They could just be kind of ambient. And then you could use this as more of a night light. They have little hooks. You can hang them on stuff. They also have...
Oh, those are nice. Yeah, for hanging, for camping, that's great. Oh, what?
How big is that? It's like 3 feet. It's like a nice little 3-foot extension pole. It's nice because even if you're not using this camping, if the power goes out, you can kind of do one of these, put it on your table and use it to like play cards, whatever. These lights last forever. We've literally left them.
That'd actually be handy for work.
It's still running, so the pro to these lights,
like you're doing some kind of construction, especially electrical work, because you now have your light and your power for your power tools. Yeah,
is that they pop off. This thing unscrews from its little hole right here, and then they actually live in the top. They'll kind of sit down in here, and when they're plugged in, they actually charge. So when you charge this power station, you charge your lights. When you unplug it, you not only have a full battery here, but you have 2 fully charged lights. If you can find it and you're looking to save a little bit of money versus the C2000, I would highly recommend this.
Someone
Moving on to
purchased
Anker's
Chief and
F
Google
series, these
Fu
are
Mug
bigger
2
power
and one
stations
other item.
designed for a home backup, keeping the lights on, food cold, all your essential appliances running when the power goes out. Out of all of their units, which are all honestly pretty good in this lineup, we would recommend the F3800 Plus. The F3800 Plus is the evolution of the original F3800, and what they did with this was they fixed a couple of very important issues that the original one had.
Wheels?
There's better solar inputs. The original F3800 had a problem where they designed it to work with Anker's solar panels. So if you just got a generic, regular brand solar panel, you couldn't even come close to maxing out the solar input because the voltage and amperage limits were all over the place. This one works with any solar panel you want it to. The voltage and amperage ranges are much better. The idle consumption is also significantly better. We did a 24-hour blackout test once with the original one, and we realized the idle consumption was insane. They basically cut it in half when you move up to this unit, which is really, really nice. They also changed out the 50 amp plug for a 30 amp plug, which is nice because you could throw in an RV, trailer, something like that. You're able to run your whole trailer, whereas before it was only giving you 2 different 240 volt plugs. And overall,
Why does this guy have so many damn battery packs? Like, can you imagine you now have a channel dedicated to, like, power equipment? This is something that can't really, like, change that much. Like, at least for me, being a general cybersecurity, technology, and all that, I can pivot in many different directions and still, you know, be doing my thing.
we just think this is a great unit. It has a suitcase handle and wheels, so it's easy enough to move it around. Underneath, you have a little flip-up handle, so you can actually team lift it pretty easy. It has a 6,000 watt inverter, a 3,800 watt hour battery, so both of those are pretty good specs. It works with Anker's app. You can parallel 2 of them together to get a bigger output. There's a ton of accessories Anker makes. Overall, it's just a very good performing unit, and I think for most people who are trying to go for home backup, this would basically solve their problem. It's also extremely price competitive. You can get 2 of these for less than 1 Delta Pro Ultra X. So basically you would get the same size inverter because the Delta Pro Ultra X has 12,000 watts. This is 2 6,000 watt inverters. The battery capacity would obviously be less because the Delta Pro Ultra X, you'd have about 12 kilowatt hours, whereas this will be closer to 8. These do work with expansion batteries, so you could always expand this system later. And you can afford to get expansion batteries because the Delta Pro Ultra X is over $7 grand.
Good God.
This thing is about $4,500 for 2 of them. And again, since we gave a kind of honorable mention in the C series lineup, in the F series lineup, if you don't want to spend this much or you don't need this much, the F.
You just ordered a shirt and coffee cup, cool designs. Oh, thank you, bud. Appreciate you. Happy hacking. Hope you enjoy them. I should also have some my stickers up from my DEFCON designs up in the next few weeks. I think they were pretty good. But yeah, I got like 5,000 stickers I plan to give out. I'm not giving them all out at DEFCON and B-Sides, but a good chunk of them will be given out. And then I will be at GGTag in Michigan in November. And then I think I may be in Pittsburgh in December. Maybe.
Really well. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to manage. It's a little bit more affordable. Great unit. But at the end of the day, to my friends and my family, I would recommend this one. Now moving on to their final series, they kind of just have 2 random floaters that I assume they're going to add on to in the future. We're going to start with the S2000. It's designed as a UPS specific product. Like it's meant to just sit plugged into the wall, and then maybe like your workstation, your computer, whatever is plugged into it. When the power goes out, this thing kicks on and keeps all of your devices running. That's a feature that all power stations have. This one is just designed specifically to do that very well. It's got plugs on the back. It's got a low idle consumption. It'll run your fridge for just over 30 hours in our testing. It is a good unit. It's very use case specific. I wouldn't really recommend this one for like camping or doing stuff like that. There's a few different quirks it has that makes it not the best. I'd still go with like a C800 or even the C2000, something like that.
I'm curious. If we look at, what is that, the Anchor S2000? Oh, damn. These are expensive. This is $600 for one. I don't know if I'd really, like, go and advertise that as, like, a UPS per se, because a UPS, I mean, my expensive APC one is, like, 150 or so. I mean, does seem decent, at least. The problem is there's not enough power plugs on a thing. But you know what I'm also curious about is, what's the max power that it can put out? So it can do 2 kilowatt hours. 1500 watts rated, 3000 peak. So standard American AC limit. Okay. Alright. I was just curious.
Along those lines, if you're going to actually go try and go camping with the unit. But if you're looking for a strictly UPS unit, this is a good power station. It's also visually kind of like appealing. It would look really good in an office. And because it has these plugs in the back, you could have it plugged into the wall, your computer plugged in here, your whatever else you have on your...
The problem is, it's too expensive. I would like to get those units, but here's the other thing. If it's meant to be a UPS...
Your desk plugged in over here. So when it's...
I don't think it has a USB interface to a computer, because, like, on these machines, I have a USB plugged in to the UPS, and that'll tell me the level the battery's at, so if it gets below a certain threshold, it will safely shut down.
Sitting like this, all the plugs are coming off the back, you're looking at the front, it actually does look pretty nice. Like we do like this as a power station. And their other unit in this kind of specialty group is the E10. This is Anker's attempt at a set it and forget it home backup system. It's modular, kind of like the Delta Pro Ultra, where you can have multiple batteries underneath one inverter. It's a high voltage unit, so there's no fans. It's very quiet. It's very efficient. There's less moving parts. And they designed it more like a power station than a traditional solar kit, even though that's how it looks. The top piece is the inverter. All the cables that plug into the smart home panels and all that kind of stuff, if you're working with them, they're all color coded. Your solar plugs directly into the inverter. It's a very simple unit. Like, you don't have to know anything about this stuff. You could buy this, put it in your garage, set it up, and you could back up, basically, depending on how many batteries you buy, so a room in your house, your garage, something like that, up to your entire house if that's what you're trying to do. It is a really cool system. It is also a little bit more of an in-depth video we did on it because it's new and there's a lot of moving pieces and parts.
I'd be interested in trying to play with something like that.
Smart home panel, the inlet box, all that kind of stuff. So we have 2 different videos to it we can link down below. But again, if you're looking for like a full-scale home backup, F3800 doesn't cut it. The E10 overall was a pretty good system that we do recommend, even with its...
Okay, so, yeah, you got like that, and he's gushing about the Anker E10 for a while. Okay, I mean, it's nice units.
It's like living with a data center in your neighborhood. And this is what it's like living with a data center on your block. And this is what it's like living with a data center on your block inside of your house with all of the doors and windows closed. Sometimes they flood your neighborhoods and do nothing about it.
The house was pretty much surrounded by water.
Record levels of flooding coming out of this site.
But most of the times they do this to the neighborhood water supply.
What the shit?
Those are the things we have to fill out to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah.
You know what that probably is? They're probably using so much water that the sediment that normally is settled at the bottom of the tanks is getting kicked up and moving. That's probably what I think is happening there. It's a little bit effed.
Kate Blanchett releasing a tool designed to help prevent people's identities from being used in AI is probably one of the greatest things to have come out in recent times for two specific reasons. Before I get to that though, let me explain what this is. It's called the Human Consent Registry, and it's meant to be a record or registry of whether you are going to allow AI to use your image likeness for whatever they want to use it for. And there's three specific tiers. One, they can use it for whatever they want, you don't care. Two, they can use it, but it's under the specific terms you have set in this registry. Or three, you cannot use their image, voice, likeness, anything for AI unless explicitly stated by that person. I think this is a fantastic tool that can be used as a time-stamped log for people who are inevitably going to be suing AI companies when they inevitably use actors, musicians, and other public figures or general people for ads and movies and music videos and what have you. Whether this becomes super popularized, a global registry tool or not, it is a fantastic identifier for people who you may or may not want to support anymore. Because if you find out that they have agreed to let AI use everything about them, and you are against AI, as am I would very quickly stop consuming that person's content. Whether they're a creator, a movie actor, a musician, whatever, if they throw themselves on this registry as a, yeah, use whatever you want for AI, I'm out. As AI persists, I suspect we are going to see more tools.
I definitely will say, I don't want anyone using my shit without my permission. Because the problem is, I've seen people already use my likeness for scams. You've seen it, where there are, like, creators that get their image and likeness pulled, and then they get used in some kind of scam. I found out about this because one of my friends told me, hey, I just got an ad and your face was on it on Instagram. And I'm like, at the time, I wasn't on Instagram. I mean, my account was privated. So I was like, that is definitely not me. And then when he, like, pulled it, showed me it, I was like, yeah, that's definitely not your voice either.
Tools and ideas like this come out of the woodwork, and I think it's important that we all give it our time and energy so that it has the potential to actually fight against AI.
Yeah. I think we're going to need more tools like that. Colorado just passed a bill that bans AI child, we'll see, CSAM, and 17 Republicans voted no.
Banning AI child porn, and 17 Republicans voted no. 17 Republicans voted no. This just proves that we need the old people out of office immediately.
Name and shame those 17. Look, you all know I'm against bills that happen to say they are protecting children when they actually will not, in fact, protect the children. Or they infringe upon the rights of adults too much. But no one has the right to go and create CSAM, whether with actual children or not. And I know about the ethical issue around child dolls. Yeah, it's... There are certain... Let me put it this way. There are certain things that I just do not think are forgivable.
The Supreme Court's recent ruling on geofence data falling under the Fourth Amendment and requiring a valid warrant may be what takes down flock cameras. In Virginia in 2019, there was a robbery, and the police...
If this doesn't, I'm not... Let me put it this way. I'm going to say this disclaimer here. I'm not one of the people actively doing this, but I happen to know of quite a few individuals, at least in my area, that are going after flock cameras and not in the way of, like, physically vandalizing them. The reason being, and I was thinking about talking about this in a video coming up soon, is... I found out while we were trying to protest and be activists against flock cameras in our area, and there's a bunch of us that are coordinating across different city blocks, not city blocks, cities and towns and all that. One of my friends happened to get access to, I think what he said was the contract that they normally give to the city that's usually under an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. And apparently the wording in these contracts is, if you destroy a flock camera, the city is, my understanding, on the hook for it. So Flock will go and replace these cameras, and then the city ends up paying for it. So the people that are going around trying to vandalize and destroy Flock cameras are only costing themselves more money. I'm not saying, you know, that I like Flock cameras. It should go without saying that I am against them. But I'm saying that this is not the right tactic. However, we've had some successful efforts in dissuading Flock from being put into a few cities, as well as getting one or two cities to turn off their Flock cameras.
Police had acquired a geofence warrant to perform a dragnet, which would acquire the phone data of everyone within about several football fields around that robbery location.
Could Veracrypt be used on a MacBook? Yeah. I think they have a Mac version.
At the time of the robbery. They then found the robber, and that robber then went into court and said, you were violating mine and everyone else's Fourth Amendment right because you grabbed their location data. The courts themselves were split on whether it falls under the Fourth Amendment right, but they ultimately settled on allowing the evidence to proceed to prosecute the guy. It then went up to the Supreme Court, who recently made the decision that, yes, it does fall under the Fourth Amendment right, and therefore requires a valid warrant. So they then sent it back down to the lower courts to decide whether the police had a valid, reasonable warrant to perform the dragnet. Now, the key thing to pay attention here is the government or the police had stated that it shouldn't fall under the Fourth Amendment because they're only getting a slice of those people's location data, which was for whatever, like 2-hour time frame.
It's still data that you're requesting. It's still a Fourth Amendment thing. Oh, you're getting a slice. Well, it's like the argument of, you bought a whole cheesecake. I take a slice of your cheesecake. Oh, well, you know, I'm not really violating, you. I just took this one small slice of cheesecake. You still have the rest of the cake. I just have this one sliver. That's this thick. But that's still a piece of the cake. You see what I'm saying?
The Supreme Court ruled that it does not matter the length of time. If they acquire that type of information and data from the people, it is immediately falling under the Fourth Amendment. So how this connects to Flock cameras is in 2024, 2 people sued the city of Norfolk, Virginia, claiming that Flock cameras that were spread across their city was performing a dragnet, capturing their daily movements, which was a warrantless search, which should trigger the Fourth Amendment. The lower courts ruled that it doesn't, and it's constitutional for Flock cameras to do what they do. Flock then went on their website and plastered it and said, look, we're constitutional. And in their amicus brief, Flock leaned heavily on U.S. v. Chattree, the previous ruling. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled that Chattree v. U.S. does fall under the Fourth Amendment, the Flock camera ruling completely falls apart. I shouldn't really say that it completely falls apart. It more so severely damages Flock's argument in Schmidt v. City of Norfolk. And now that it has been appealed, the lower court is stuck between a rock and a hard place because they either have to agree with the Supreme Court and say that it does fall under the Fourth Amendment via Chattree v. U.S.
What's up, Bedrock?
They don't agree, and then it gets sent to the Supreme Court anyways, where they're most likely to say that it is going to fall under the Fourth Amendment. And what that means is it will severely restrict Flock's ability to share data with police departments, government entities, and whoever else.
In translation, get fucked, Flock!
Because they will need a valid warrant, and it could potentially restrict how long Flock holds their data, because depending on the state, they could hold it for upwards of a month and a half, and with this ruling, could restrict it down to just a couple of days.
A police officer used Flock cameras to falsely accuse a woman of a crime and told her, you can't get a breath of fresh air without us knowing. Take a look.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing. You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
This took place in a small town in Colorado. The police officer is a sergeant of the nearby Columbine Valley Police Department, and the woman is a local financial planner. The sergeant showed up to her house and accused her of stealing a package from a porch. When she denied it, he cited the town's sweeping automated surveillance web consisting of flock safety cameras.
Is this another case of the AI thinks it's this person, and it's like 99% certainty, and it really turns out that's not the same person, and this cop takes 98, 99% certainty as an absolute confirmed thing? Like, this is why we need to, like, actually require that cops have higher IQs, instead of restricting cops from hiring people that have higher IQs. If you didn't know, that's a thing. They seriously shy away from hiring people with higher IQs because they tend to question authority too much.
He claimed to have definitive proof, saying that her truck had crossed town lines from 11:52 until 12:09 exactly, and that she had driven through the town 20 times over the past month. He immediately gave her a criminal court summons for theft without investigating further. So she was forced to act as her own detective to overturn the automated police narrative. She downloaded data from her Rivian electric truck, which tracked her exact GPS movement.
She had a Rivian that can place her everywhere. This is gonna make the cops and the flock cameras look stupid. Let's see what happens, but I have a feeling this is where it's gonna go.
She gathered security footage from her tailor showing she was miles away getting clothes fitted during the exact time window of the theft. After being faced with undeniable counter evidence, the chief of police voided her criminal summons. We're gonna see a lot more of this in the future, where cops and even the government choose to rely on automated data instead of actually investigating a case.
Here's the other thing. Isn't it the 5th? Face accuser. Which one is that? Yeah, the 6th Amendment. Isn't that a violation of the 6th Amendment? Because the automated system is what's accusing you, but not a human. We had this similar issue in Ohio, where, with the red light cameras, they made it so that red light cameras had to only be used as supporting evidence, and an officer would have to issue the ticket.
Causing innocent people to be falsely charged with crimes.
Yep. This is going to happen a hell of a lot more, unfortunately. Alright, let's see. Oh, I'm in the Discord window, I forgot.
Open source projects you should know. This project is called...
The flock cameras are hackable. Oh, we know. We've talked about it in my local DEFCON group, and I'm guaranteeing you there's going to be some talks at B-Sides and DEFCON about them, and probably some open source projects to mess with flock cameras. I'll be documenting as much as I can for y'all, too. I'm going to see also about getting into a Sky Talk or two. Sky Talks are the most exclusive talks where... you are not allowed to have any electronics on. I have to turn my watch off, everything. Pen and paper only.
OpenHuman, and it's an open source framework for deploying autonomous, interactive digital humans. You build lifelike AI agents that possess distinct personalities, manage long-term memory, and interact in real time. It's perfect for developers and AI researchers who want to seamlessly integrate conversational, memory-retaining AI personas into their work environments.
I don't know why I would want that. I want all of them to be autistic and just give me the answer. I don't need bullshit. I don't need a bot that converses. I need a bot that works.
We now know why Sony has stopped physical discs, and it might be because AI. That is right, AI, the thing that is killing gaming. Unsurprisingly, might be killing gaming even more. Apparently, Sony has a manufacturing facility in Austria that does most of the physical disc generation and distribution, and apparently, that factory is not being laid off. Actually, they're being repositioned with a new fresh cash amount of 30 million euro in order to build what are called micro lenses. They're used tools for AI production. So if you
Oh, God.
anything physical, you can thank AI.
Fucking AI is ruining everything.
In this tin is, as far as we know, the world's brightest glow-in-the-dark paint. Now this is another
What the hell?
glow-in-the-dark paint. The brightest one I've been able to find. It's pretty bright, but I think ours is brighter, so let's give it a test. Now this is an acrylic-based wall paint, not a more viscous model paint, which I forgot about here as I put this massive splodge down. Ha ha ha! But here is 1 coat, 2 coats, 3 coats, 4 coats.
All I can think of is how funny it would be when you're drunk to paint your dick with that and turn it into a nightlight. Did they record them? No, Sky Talks are never recorded.
And then with 5 coats on, we are well and truly seeing the full brightness.
Wait a minute. What if you're with your girlfriend and she paints her down there? They could claim we never miss a spot now. Especially if they put arrows and it's like points right there to the clit. The men that never could find it now can find the way. Even in the darkness. A glow stick. A glow stick, a glow dick.
Snow Works is on the top here, and the other brightest paint we could find is on the bottom. And that is an hour later. Our paint is definitely a little bit brighter than the other one. The other one's still cool though. Any glow paint is going to be pretty fun. Right, tell me what you want me to paint with this, guys. I'm thinking maybe a car would be fun.
A car with that would be interesting.
Remember that Steam Machine red line of death that I just made a video on? Seems like a few of us pulled the trigger on that one a little too early. Kind of fake news. A few days after someone on Reddit reported that his Steam Machine died 20 minutes after use and showed us the red line of death, very similar to the red ring of death from the Xbox 360 days, apparently he left his Steam Machine unplugged for a few hours, and when he plugged it back in, it magically started working again. I know. He even started off saying anticlimactic and somewhat embarrassing update. But Valve did help out a different user with a similar issue, and we got some juicy details.
Okay.
The support agent explained that you should unplug your device, press the power button a few times to discharge the PSU, then plug the machine back in, hold the power button for 6 seconds, and this starts a cycle of color codes to allow you to select various options for recovery. For this specific user, they were told to wait until the LED turns green, and that'll conduct a full CMOS reset. So Valve programmed in different ways for us to easily go through different recovery and troubleshooting methods. I'm not gonna lie, man, that seems pretty cool. I'm excited to see Valve tell other people to do this and see if they work.
That is actually really cool. You know, Gabe, you may have as many yachts as you want. You have been a good steward to the community. I really don't give a fuck. I now grant you the permission of being, so far, the only person I'm okay with doing whatever the fuck you want with your boats and other super wealth.
Another person has been wrongly identified by facial recognition in a supermarket, and honestly, at what point do we stop calling these isolated incidents? Back in February, a man was told to leave a Sainsbury's without explanation after staff incorrectly identified him as someone flagged by the system. Now, just days after Sainsbury's announced it's expanding the technology to more than 200 stores, another customer has come forward with a strikingly similar story. This time, it's a 20-year-old medical student who says she was approached by 3 members of staff while shopping in her local Sainsbury's. She had her basket taken from her, and she was told to leave immediately. When she asked why, she was simply told to scan a QR code which directed her to information about FaceWatch's facial recognition system. She says she's never shoplifted in her life, but when she contacted the store afterwards, asking what she'd supposedly stolen, when it happened, or whether there was any CCTV, she says she was refused any explanation and simply told she was banned. After contacting FaceWatch, the owners that stores like Sainsbury's, as well as Budgeons, Spa, B&M and Sports Direct rent from, she was later informed that the match had originated from another store entirely. Now, whether that's ultimately proven or not, the fact that someone could apparently be treated
There's gonna be some serious lawsuits out of this shit.
Without being shown any evidence should concern everyone. The bigger issue is that these systems don't just make mistakes, they create consequences before anyone has established whether or not those mistakes are real. If you're falsely flagged, you're publicly removed from a shop, potentially embarrassed in front of other customers, your image can be reportedly shared across multiple retailers, and then apparently it's just up to you to prove your innocence. Companies love quoting statistics about how many offenders don't return after being identified, but those figures tell you absolutely nothing about false positives, which according to other reports could be actually as high as 85%. Accurate.
I dare any one of these companies to try to do that shit to me. Or, yeah. If it happens to me or any of my friends, oof, that's a PR campaign they ain't gonna be able to recover from.
Accuracy is a largely meaningless marketing metric if people caught up in mistakes are the ones paying the price ultimately. If retailers are going to deploy systems that make decisions about real people in real time, then they need transparent appeal processes, meaningful human oversight, and accountability when those systems fail. Otherwise, we're normalizing a world where an algorithm can restrict your ability to participate in everyday life, and your only explanation is scan the QR code on the door and then just hope for the best.
You're not going to convince me to scan a random QR code either.
If you're 16 and can't afford a car, buy this. It's called the Piaggio Ape 50, and it's just like a car except it has 1, 2, 3 wheels. The engine is 2 strokes with 50 cc's.
It's like a K truck, but European.
And it's missing a steering wheel. But other than that, it's basically a car, because it has headlights and indicators, pop-out windows with multi-level adjustment, there's an actual speedo with mileage and warning light, you have a fly horn, windscreen wash, and the all-important starter button. We're not done yet, as in front of the speedo you have an air vent. Just above that there's a 180 watt socket to charge your phone. There's coin storage, you have pocket change from your mum. On the doors there's more pocket storage, an ashtray for your small vapes. In the sensor
they probably need the coin storage for the tolls.
you have the handbrake, and here you find an LED interior light just in case it gets dark. Every small crevice is utilised in the Piaggio because look at where the battery is placed, and the windscreen washer bottle. And the engine is pushed all the way to the back, meaning it's default rear wheel drive. The Piaggio comes with 4 forward gears and 4 reverse gears, which is enough to get you to the shops. You're not going to have problems with storage either. And to load on heavy items, just pop this down. So if you're done with high insurance prices, get this now.
It's a cute little car. I'd use that for a little around town, little grab my tools, get around vehicle. Okay, so what do we got here? Discord moderation, AI moderation bug banned 8,000 users over harmless images. Including about 200 banned over the weekend. Jesus. There's currently a vulnerability in Discord's AI moderation that detects any and all square grid images such as spreadsheets, chessboards, Minecraft inventories, white and gray transparent backgrounds as CSAM and will permanently ban your account. That is the dumbest bug I've ever heard of. Hey, you have this gray box. Oh, CSAM. Ban. Game textures. Ha! Oh, this shit's gonna get stupid. This is knockoff browser extension hides sketchy Amazon. Huh. This actually could be useful because I think everyone's been noticing that there is a lot of sketchy vendors that yeah, it just selling BS, drop shipping stuff and all that. What's next? Wyoming tightens wastewater rules after Meta data center contractor flushed contaminated water. Meta said it was working with officials to be a good neighbor and drinking water supplies were not affected. Officials in Wyoming said a contractor from Mark Zuckerberg's tech company flushed bacteria-contaminated water into public sewers during construction of a controversial new AI data center. Jesus. This is the problem, is they push it until, like, something breaks. What's this? LXMF tools. Are you trying to get me to do reticulum, matrix over reticulum vampire? Is this what you're trying to do? I do need to set up my reticulum. Meta, now let's... Oh, yeah, so, I saw this. Meta has since rolled this back. When I found out about this, immediately found my settings, where I needed to, remove that and everything, because this is not right. I don't know why all of these big tech companies can't seem to understand the risks. They're just like, let's throw AI into it. I'm getting tired of people throwing AI into everything without thinking about it. We don't need AI in everything. Okay, Waymo car delivers misbehaving teens to California police. 2 California teens were out for a joyride in a Waymo and received a sobering lesson on Monday. The 15-year-olds were allegedly drinking and shooting water beads from a toy gun when they were basically busted by the driverless vehicle, which remotely prevented them from leaving it until police arrived. Jeez. I'm actually okay with that. If you conduct a crime, it can act as your jail. Okay, what's this? Proton calls Windows spyware over...
The company Proton is calling out Microsoft, and they're not being subtle about it. The privacy company...
Oh, I have not said that Windows is spyware. I've said Windows is malware. That happens to also have spyware capabilities. But yeah, the Scattered Spider actor, despite all the crimes they were doing, okay, that aside, okay, yes, they should be locked up, okay? He got caught, despite all the VPNs and everything he was doing, because the Windows operating system has a unique identifier. And this proves what I tell people all the time: VPNs are not silver bullets. And privacy and anonymity are more mindsets and philosophies than they are depending upon any single tool. And it blows my mind to this day that this kid, as prolific as he was, I find it hard to believe they didn't know about Linux. And it's kind of funny to understand that had they used Linux, they wouldn't have been caught for this one stupid thing. But yeah, Microsoft is fingerprinting you so damn hard. That's why Microsoft does not care that you're not paying for Windows. And I was saying a long time, I said this many years ago, when everybody's like, well, Chief, I'm not going to pay for a Microsoft license because I want to get one over on Microsoft. You think Microsoft really cares? They're making more money on your data that you're handing over to them. And you just basically are laughing about how you, downloaded a crack to be able to change your wallpaper and get rid of a watermark.
He says Windows is acting like spyware because every installation gets a...
It's more like malware, as we said, but yeah.
Global Device ID, or GDID. Proton says users don't meaningfully consent to it. They can't...
And what's even worse, when they say can't consent to it, so if you've ever set up Windows, do you notice the advertising ID? You can't ever disable it. You can merely just have it be less specific about you. You still have ads enabled.
Can't remove it, and reinstalling Windows only partially helps because Microsoft keeps historical records. They also claim Microsoft has mentioned this identifier exactly once in public documentation. Proton's argument is simple. If Windows has a persistent device ID that can track activity across IP changes, then your privacy tools may not be enough.
Yep. And that's what I've been saying for a while is, okay, you're going for a VPN. VPN ain't going to do shit for you other than basically change where you're looking like you're coming from. For example, if you're in a state where a certain hub, may not be allowed to be accessed, you change your VPN location as if you're in Canada. But that only changes that you're looking like you're coming from Canada. It doesn't change the fact that your computer is giving off unique identifiers that can de-anonymize you. That's the issue. And that is why people like me have been saying for years, Windows, Proton's saying like spyware. I said they're acting more like malware. Richard Stallman of the Free Software Foundation said that long before. Yes, I know there are some opinions about Richard Stallman and some things he did. And yeah, okay, we get that. But he wasn't wrong on this aspect of it. He just was more ahead of the times than a lot of other people were to understand where Microsoft was going. All right, let's see. What's the next video? What the fuck? Is that a doll? The dog is giving CPR. You trained your dog to give you CPR.
Just when you think Valve can't score yet another community dub, they just pulled off a move that you never see, especially in our industry. As we know, the Steam Machine is not a subsidized system. That would be them selling it at a lower price because they know they'll make more money back with Steam. They've said from day one that you can buy the Steam Machine and use it however you want. Steam OS is awesome, but they're still helping you if you want to use Windows. Hard to believe people will be doing this right away, but they just published Windows drivers for the Steam Machine. This includes the GPU, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even the SD card reader. Valve knows people love Steam OS, but they still want to help you if you prefer Windows. Now, they specifically say they cannot offer Windows on Steam hardware customer support. Don't really blame them, to be honest. They also said that dual booting is coming soon.
You know, I actually do understand the you're on your own for Windows attitude. So when you get into the Linux device space, that's actually what happens a lot. So Tuxedo and System76, Tuxedo Computers and System76, two of the computer companies that I use, both are Linux first companies. You buy their laptops, they're going to come with Linux. They do offer you the drivers to install Windows on it, but they outright tell you if there are any issues, they're not really going to be able to help you. But they'll help you all the way with Linux. That's, you know, it looks like Valve is taking on that model, and I don't really blame them because Valve has direct control over SteamOS. They can directly know what is in the packages and everything. Whereas if they're depending on Microsoft Windows, there's so many curveballs that could happen with a Windows machine. We've seen it, all of us. If you've built one, you've bought one, you've used it, Windows curveballs, issues, things like that. Whereas they have much more intimate knowledge of SteamOS. So, makes sense. Oh, yeah.
Hardware is capable, but it sounds like they're trying to develop a proper bootloader to make this as easy to use as possible. Imagine a company...
That actually makes sense for the bootloader thing, because I've talked about how dual booting on Windows I don't recommend anymore, because the Microsoft bootloader may wipe itself out on a future Windows update, and then your Linux partition just is not bootable anymore. That's a Microsoft issue. So if Valve can create a bootloader that prevents that issue for the average user, that'd be a win-win, I think.
Company encouraging you to use their device however you want to. That is not normal in 2026.
What are the best certificates courses to do for free as a high school learning IT and cybersecurity? It's not really certificates or courses so much as home labs. So you can do a lot of home labbing. So if you go into the Discord server that we're here right now, in the general chat, pinned at the top, HBX put like a year or two ago, like February, I think it was a year or two ago, there's about like 600 or so page PDF document with tons of different projects you can do on a virtual machine that cost you nothing. It's all open source software. You just need enough RAM on your machine to run another virtual machine, and you can tinker.
Open source projects you should know. This project is called Log2 and it's a modern open source alternative to Auth0 that provides full user authentication out of the box. You get sign-in flows, social logins, multi-factor security, and complete role-based access controls that you can deploy to your apps using their clean SDKs in just a few lines of code. It's perfect for shipping secure applications faster without spending weeks building custom user management and login screens.
What's that called?
Open source projects you should know. This project is
Log2. Okay. Do you use VirtualBox? No, I use KVM QEMU. Was it Log2? What was it called? Oh, Log2. There we go. That's actually going to be useful. It could help out a few people. I use Jump Cloud though, but production ready auth with multi-tenancy, enterprise SSO, and RBAC. Yeah, but you're gonna have to host that too. That's the only pain. Oh well.
To anyone who thought that the EVs were going to stress the grid too much, the buses that are not in use right now are powering the grid. That's right, because all the kids are on summer break and the buses are sitting idle, those batteries are sending power back to the grid in massive quantities so that you can keep your air conditioner on. That is, if you live in an area that invested in EVs. One of those woke areas, I'm sure.
That is neat, though.
Washington just got called out for trying to film preschoolers to train AI.
What the fuck? You know, I'm gonna put this on the level of CSAM, even though I know they ain't touching kids. It's, in my mind, just as bad.
In their proposed study, preschool teachers would wear body cameras, capturing everything they saw, including every kid in the room. That footage would have been fed straight into AI models to assess classroom interaction quality. Which AI models? Who knows? The university didn't say. And the consent form parents received added to the confusion because parents weren't sure whether it was opt-in or opt-out. Oh, and the researchers said they would blur faces and names whenever possible, since the footage might be used in academic papers, conferences, or shared with others.
Oh, jeez.
It also wouldn't say who was funding the study. As you might expect, the backlash was so severe that the university killed the study and scrubbed the page from their website. And this isn't a one-time thing. There was an AI-powered high school in the works in New York that just got shut down after protests about similar concerns. This is just the start of AI making its way into classrooms. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Filming preschoolers is clearly the wrong way.
Yeah, I have a feeling if I start going down the route of being a parent, it's not gonna be fun. The shit I'm gonna have to put up with.
This is IT support. Kenny speaking. How can I help you?
Hi, this is Carlos Rodriguez from Facilities. I just got a new phone and I'm trying to set up my company email on it, but I can't figure it out.
Okay, perfect. So you already did the onboarding?
Yeah, I mean, I put in my password and everything, but the email just isn't showing up. I tried Googling it, but nothing really helped.
I see, yeah. So what type of phone did you receive?
It's one of those new Samsungs, the Galaxy S24.
You think people are becoming more aware?
Let me just collect your information.
I think people are becoming more aware, but it's one of those, like, dude, what the fuck took you so long kind of moments, because the same people that are finally becoming aware of that AI is collecting too much data and that they're training on all this data that they've actually willingly been giving up for years and were so laissez-faire saying, well, you know, what does it matter? They have my data anyway, are finally realizing that apathetic approach is biting them in the ass because all your data is out there. Now, AI is being used left, right, and center and injected into everything where basically AI will become our overlords at one point and we're just going to use AI as the president of the United States in every country if a lot of these companies have their way. I think people are becoming more aware. But the problem is we have this problem of people become aware a little too late. They don't listen to the people that are the experts that are telling them that these are the problems that are going to come and you know, stare them in the face down the road if we don't nip it in the bud now. I remember I was making these points about Facebook in 2005 in high school. I remember saying, like, this is not going to be good long term. And I remember, you know, being told, oh, no, you're crazy. I remember telling people, half joking, oh, I bet there's somewhere that the ISPs are literally just like direct connecting into the government to feed our data from our telecommunications. Oh, Chief, you're freaking crazy. That's insane. That's conspiracy theory. Then we find out from Edward Snowden they were doing exactly that. It was not a conspiracy. It was real. Edward Snowden came out and revealed to everyone, and that should have been the point where everyone is like, oh, shit, they're collecting too much data on us. We need to do something about it. But no, everyone just went back to fucking sleep for another 15 goddamn years, and then woke up to AI and is like, how the hell did this happen? What's happening? AI is everywhere. Because you weren't fucking paying attention. You were too fucking busy trying to bury your head in the sand, trying to tell everyone, oh, well, I don't need to care about my data protection and data privacy. They got my data anyway. Oh, well, what's the point in it? And now all that data for all those years that you could have stopped getting out there is now being vacuumed up by AI data centers to be trained on. Congratulations. Apathy is how the elites win and manipulate their world into the way that they see fit to crush the poor. You play right into their hand. Have the bottoms fight each other instead of us look upwards. That was my rant. Do you recommend using a VPN? It depends on the use case. I don't say that VPNs are some blanket, like, oh, you need to have a VPN regardless kind of thing. If you're on a public Wi-Fi where it's maybe not trusted, it can be okay. If you're trying to route to different countries to get around geo-blocking, it can be okay, but it's not some magical silver bullet thing that's going to protect you from everything.
Real quick, so Carlos Rodriguez, which department are you from?
Sure, no problem. My employee ID is EMP 4149, and my computer name is SD1033. My email is crodriguez@servicedesk-simulator.com.
And have you confirmed that your
Wait, is this an actual service desk simulator?
email's already working?
Well, they're working on my computer, but not on this new phone. That's the whole problem, you know?
Okay, so tell me where you are currently in your setup of the phone. You turned it on, what do you see?
I'm past the initial setup, like picking the language and all that. I'm trying to get my company email on it, but it's just not working. It keeps asking for something.
What is it asking?
It's asking for a password, but I'm putting in my usual password and it just won't accept it. I even tried my old password just in case.
When was the last time you used your old password?
Probably like 6 months ago. We had that mandatory password change, remember? So I changed it then.
Okay, so this could be, okay, let me see here. So you changed it then. Okay.
This feels like I'm just back in work in my early days.
Well, I don't know what it could be. I already tried restarting the phone. That's what you guys always say to do, but it didn't help.
Do you happen to remember your new password?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. I even wrote it down on a sticky note somewhere. I'm using the one I think it is.
But it works on a computer, correct?
Yeah, it works on my computer. SD1033. I'm logged in right now, actually.
What password did you use for the computer? Is it the old one or the new one that you changed it to?
Okay. So what, is this like some kind of service desk simulator? Alright. What's this? Takedown detection in the dark.
Know when law enforcement has seized a website. FBI Watchdog is a tool for detecting website takedowns. It can monitor domains across the ClearNet and the dark web. When a site is seized, law enforcement begins to make many changes to it. These are often small and unnoticeable unless you have something watching it for you. It's better to get this up now than wait till later. Like and follow if you want to become a better ethical hacker. How can ethical hackers know when law enforcement...
What's the tool called?
FBI
FBI Watchdog. Curious how that works. Although, I'm curious when he's talking about ethical hacking and monitoring unethical sites that are going to be taken down. I don't know. You see where I'm, like, going with that? Alright, so this one is FBI Watchdog. There we go. Oh, it's not that well known. It's a cyber threat intelligence OSINT tool that monitors domain DNS changes in real time, specifically detecting law enforcement seizures, ns1.fbi.cs.gov. It alerts users via Telegram and Discord and captures. So basically, you can use this to point at, like, yeah, Nyala and other things where there could be questionable services used. So, I mean, you could, like, point this at, like, Proton and stuff. See if things start changing. That could be useful. What about build an actual Jarvis? I mean, I've joked about that a few years ago, but... Let's see, we got a few more shorts.
Frick this nonsense. Frick it right to heck. In one of the most garbage anti-customer moves that's been done in recent history, T-Mobile's decided to ungrandfather a large portion of their plans and jack up the prices. Jesus. Because they were put in place when networks were only 3G and 4G, people can't really expect them to keep their word because they didn't properly account for the 5G rollout that they had years and years to plan for. And the kicker is that they say the average line will only go up $4 a month. But external research shows that it'll be way more than that, with people seeing their phone bill going up by 60%. That's
so effed.
T-Mobile may be including people who aren't affected in those average numbers to make that $4 claim. We're not terribly far removed from when they branded themselves as the uncarrier and called out the others for pulling this.
Yeah.
But hey, when you're only making $55 billion of profit each year, no one should really expect you to keep your word.
Yeah, too bad it costs too much money to make your own cell service.
Discord just officially went on the record saying that they do indeed moderate every single user's chat. They go through all of your data. What makes us even spicier is the fact that they just confirmed it accidentally. They didn't intend for you and I to know that. What the heck is nobody talking about this? There's a lot to get into. Just make sure that you send this to everybody that's using Discord so that they stay in the loop, and follow me for everything tech related. If you haven't seen the recent news, Discord permanently banned 200 users for sending photos of their grids from Minecraft.
Oh, it's the same story we were talking about earlier. Okay.
Like images in their chats and servers. Little did they know that Discord apparently has a feature that moderates all of their chats to see if any illegal imagery is being sent back and forth. In other words,
so you know what's amazing is Roblox, we said, should have done a better job moderating. And we were talking about for a while when it came to CSAM, there was this Roblox to Discord pipeline. Discord just admitted they've had the power all along to nip a lot of that in the bud. But also, this is a great time to remind all of you, I have a Matrix server in case Discord ever goes stupid. Currently we have it bridged on the general chat and soon a few more between Discord and Matrix, but it's decentralized, it's open source, and I run my own server. It's in Sweden. So, just letting you know, there's options out there.
they've been going through your and my chats all the time to see if we're doing anything that they don't like. After all, gotta report it back to daddy government to protect the children. Discord's moderation flagged that content as illegal, and that of course resulted in the bans. Of course we don't want illegal content being sent, but every other chat platform that exists relies on users to report illegal content. They don't go through your chats to see if it's there. In other words, there's no false flags, no invasion of privacy. There's a couple alternatives that you can go with. Adler has made numerous progress on their chatting client. You're looking for a lot of flexibility and more focused on gaming-centered shenanigans, then you're probably going to be interested in Root.
The problem with those platforms is, and I'm going to be talking about this in the video where I'm talking about Fluxer, which is another Discord alternative, but they're doing a decentralized self-hosted alternative. Those are probably just Discord in new flavor. What I mean by that is, we have the inherent problem with a lot of services. We saw this with TikTok and Clapper. We saw this with Mixer and Twitch, and various other platforms. If all you're doing is creating another platform, and it's like the other platform, but just different people are running it, it's going to fail. You need to have features to differentiate. That's why Clapper never really took off, and people stayed on TikTok as much as they'd complain about TikTok. Even though it was the same thing, because it's not doing anything different. The reason why everybody went to TikTok from Instagram and everything was TikTok gave a new format. Instagram and all those others copied it. So the problem is, all these people that are moving away from Discord to find Discord alternatives that just happen to be Discord-like, but under new owners, it's never going to work. People moved to Discord because IRC was falling off favor. TeamSpeak was falling out of favor. That's why Discord started to pick up more. It had some features that a lot of people liked. But yeah, he was like talking about Root, and what's this other one?
You're probably going to be interested in Root. Did you see that Discord numerous progress on their chatting client?
What is it? There's Valor. What is it?
Valor has made new.
Valor. Okay. So let me just. I just want to confirm this before I make a fool out of myself. Valor Discord alternative. Okay. Valor.gg. Yep. Same thing. It's centrally hosted. They don't even have a native app yet. Okay, so they're still very, very new. They do have an open source one. They have a Windows app, an Android app. But I have a feeling it's basically just going to be another thing that's centrally located. Because is this just the client? Okay, you have that. Root Discord alternative. Okay. I have a feeling this is going to be the same thing. Okay, yeah, it's talking about all these features. It's a centrally hosted app. This one is even worse than this one, because this one at least is open sourced. It's just taking some time to build out. Yeah. What browser am I using? Oh, I'm using Florp. It's a fork of Firefox. But, yeah. That's the problem. Don't even propose a Discord alternative if it's just going to be another centrally hosted application that's basically just Discord with new owners. Matrix at least is, oh, it's self-hosted. It's on the Matrix protocol. And, you know, it's a different way to do things. Fluxer, even though I don't care for their approach on it because they came a little too late to the game, as I'll talk about in one of my videos that I'm scripting right now, they're at least doing something different. Alright, one last video for the night.
Open source projects you should know. This project is called Apache Nudge, and it's a highly extensible open source web crawler. You crawl the entire web at scale, parse diverse file formats, and integrate seamlessly with Solr or Elasticsearch without building a custom distributed infrastructure from scratch. It's perfect for enterprise scale data mining and building custom search engines.
Yeah, that actually could be interesting. What is it called? Apache...
Open source projects you should know. This project is called Apache Nudge.
Nudge. Okay. Nudge. Apache Nudge. An extensible and scalable web crawler. This could be useful when I start doing my plans for CRXNG. Remember seeing one of your vids saying we should go out and find cybersec groups in our area. My local OS chapter seems inactive and I miss my local 2600 group. Are there any other groups I should consider? Local DEFCON groups. Go to the DEFCON forums. They might have some in your area. Oftentimes they may look inactive, but they are. They just tend to not be as active on the websites. Like the DEFCON group that I go to, I got invited to when I was at DEFCON 2 years ago. So I was in Vegas to get invited to the DEFCON group back in my state. And it's like, and sometimes it's like you have to know a person. But yeah, look at infosecmap.com, Eventbrite, meetup.com, and then just literally like type in the words like tech, IT, cybersecurity. You know, different terms like that. See what events pop up, and then you can go out and network. And there is a possibility you may have to drive like 30 minutes, maybe an hour to go to some of these places, but it can be worth it. I drove an hour for one of my conferences 2 months ago. I'm going to be driving 8 hours for another conference in Michigan. Or it's closer to 10, actually. But yeah. So, anyway, it is getting a little late. I've seen some of your tech shirts and I like some of your tech tips. Appreciate it, Texas. So, we got our badge kind of working. I'm gonna work on the design a little bit more to see how I can get that to work. But we got the QR code. I gotta do the altering a little bit more. Claude is very helpful with doing this stuff, because when I did this stuff manually a year or two ago, it took me about 3 or 4 hours, and we at least got this far in 10 minutes. So, that's a huge win. But basically, next up, I'm gonna get my 3D printer working so I can 3D print a case for this, and then that'll protect the electronics on the back. And then I have some NFC cards over here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna program the NFC to have my web page on it to go to my socials. That way, if anyone, you know, wants to get my socials and they don't want to scan a QR code, they can tap the NFC or they can look at all the information here. That's the idea. Just kind of like a badge I'll put on my backpack to be like, yeah, this is me. We went to Michigan not that long ago. I haven't been to Michigan in a year ago. What video did I end on? I ended on the Apache Nutch. I'll make a note for next time. So I just tagged the video that I ended on. But thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. If you don't see them in the chat below, make sure to check them out in the links in bio. I'm live on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and TikTok, and then of course I'm on Instagram and Blue Sky and Mastodon, and then I have a great Discord and Matrix community server you're more than welcome to join. The links are in the bio for all of that. I will be back for sure on Wednesday. Another tech hangout. Probably try to finish this guy up. We have a couple of laptops that we still have to set up for DEF CON. So, I'm going to be wiping my Cubes laptop and reinstall everything on there from scratch. So, I don't know if we'll do that next stream. Maybe next week's stream. It'll be happening. So, we'll all get a little bit more hands-on with Cubes OS. I have the extra HDMI cord so you can follow along with me on this journey. And you can learn about the reasonably secure operating system, where everything's compartmentalized. But anyway, if you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. Otherwise, stay safe. Love you all. Happy hacking. And I'll be back on Wednesday for sure. Maybe tomorrow if I feel it, but I'm going to be doing some editing of videos and everything. Oh, by the way, new YouTube video tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there. DEF CON, Black Hat, B-Sides, Guide, How to Survive It. Get you some nice intro for all of that. Love you all. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid. Bye.